Thank you so much, Cissy, for facilitating. And thank you so much, Nick, for joining in our A Better Normal series. This is the first time that we're doing A Better Normal with a musician and talking about music that heals. Oh, you're already getting great comments. So Adriana, that's our A Better Normal rock star from New Zealand, says, "Hi, Nick, I love your music."
I went to New Zealand and played music for you.
Can't wait for live shows again sometime in the future. But if you check out Próxima Parada on YouTube, they have some amazing videos that you can pretend like you can go to a live concert again. Um, anyway, and I was just telling Nick and Cissy this before we went live, is that as many of you know who have tuned in before, we have public health experts, or we have someone who does policy or housing, and all these wonderful, beautiful ways that people are trying to address trauma and create a trauma-informed society, which is the whole thing that we're doing with A Better Normal, is that we together, as a community, which you are doing with us by being here, is that we are brainstorming how to make a better society, that we know that the research about trauma and adverse childhood experiences, that the more people who understand that and understand that we have to heal trauma, the better society that we all get to have. So you guys are in on it with us. Thank you so much for knowing that and spreading this work in your communities. And thank you for being here with us today. So I wanted to explain a little bit how I have come to know Nick and the beautiful music of Próxima Parada. So let's see, I just moved back to my hometown, which is San Luis Obispo, California. And in my past life, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I managed this nonprofit retail store here, a fair trade store. And that was such a fun job to have. And so we often hosted music and art in the show, which was such a fun thing. And I dredged up this old picture that Nick kind of winced when I showed it. So I definitely have to show it again. He was like, "That is old. This picture is
Old, probably.
It's over 8 years old." And so this was just an earlier version of the band that played in our store. You can kind of see like all the different weird fair trade products, in the background, all these handicraft products from all over the world. And
he probably hasn't played since then.
yeah. And so that's just like a really fun, I think it was the first time you all played, I don't know, but back in 2012. And then I moved away. Like I moved to New York and I moved to Austin, and then I went to grad school in Boston, and reconnected with Nick and the band earlier this year. And I started listening to their music, and I thought, this really sounds like trauma-informed music to me. And so I asked Nick about that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in therapy. It's absolutely all about my healing journey," which I just loved, and I wanted to share that all with you, because I just feel that it's the rest of us, are really doing our best to heal and showing up and looking at our trauma and healing. But Nick is really doing this really beautiful thing in service of us all, which is that he's healing his trauma and his pain, and he's turning it into such beautiful music that in turn helps us heal. So thank you so much for being here today, Nick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could just tell me a little bit about like an overview maybe of some of what you were telling me when we connected earlier about your healing journey, and how what's the process, of turning that into music for you?
Yeah, that's it's certainly not one clear process always. So this is how I do it. It's not a science for me at all. It's very, like I was saying before, it's very touchy feely. I like the process for me feels like I stay really, really open and receptive to insights or teachings or learnings, either from other people or from books, from my own experiences. And when something really touches me, I just try to be open to that and see what can come through me, and turning that into music. So yeah, it might be maybe something that I needed to hear that was like missing in my life, and maybe by committing it to song, I'm like embodying that teaching, because that song is so personal, that when I like really take in that teaching or that feeling that I had and try to make sense of it, and I commit it to song, then it kind of like solidifies it for me in my life. Then it kind of holds me accountable too, to that teaching, to that insight. Yeah.
Oh,
Does that make
I
sense?
yeah, I really love that. Um, I love that. Yeah, I wanted to also bring Cissy into the fold here before I have some questions to ask you about specific songs, and then we will play some of those songs
Oh yeah.
for you all. But Cissy, I was talking with you last week as we were prepping for this, and you had some really beautiful thoughts about how music heals that I wanted you to share.
Yeah, I feel like I am in my 50s now, and I grew up and I had a lot of aces, and my mom was a teenager when she had kids and was super young and super stressed and very busy and hardworking. And none of us had a really great emotional vocabulary for understanding trauma. It was something our whole family went through. It was generational, intergenerational, but music was one of the ways we connected. We used to trade songs on birthdays. Like, this song reminds me of you. We gave each other songs as gifts, as well as mixtapes, but also songs that that was one way we could access emotions. And then the other thing that's been so healing in my teens, music was like the safe way to connect with other people. Even if, had defenses up, music could get in. So it was a way to help me cry or get comfortable with tears, or it was just like a way to have company. And I just think music has been so central to the healing journey. And then I also think music can be really radical, like great poetry and other forms of art, because it just humanizes and makes common our most intense and sometimes painful feelings, and put it into something really beautiful that transforms our experiences and then also turns into a gift. So I'm just really excited that we're having this conversation, because as much as I love talking about ACEs science, sometimes it rests in clinical language or technical language. It's not as conversational, but I feel like in music and art, there's so much healing and there's so much that's about trauma, and that we do so much healing in music. So I'm just very glad to be here.
Thank you.
That's so beautiful, Cissy. Adriana, would you mind sharing your comment? I'm going to unmute you.
Oh, right. So what I was saying was, Nick, when I read your lyrics, you say things that resonate with me, and that's why I like listening to your music, because when you sing, that's what I feel. And I almost do the same thing with my writing, and it's like it comes through me, and then when I write it down, I get an understanding of what I'm feeling, and it's like you said, it consolidates what I'm feeling, and then I suddenly understand my thinking and how I'm feeling, and it soothes me. So yeah, so thanks for saying that. That was really good. Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. And when the song coming through, trying to make sense of some really raw feeling, or maybe some past stuff that's coming up, and then as the song, as I go through that process of entertaining that thought or that feeling, it starts to become more clear what I was feeling. It's not so blind anymore. It might make a lot more sense, especially with a nice juicy image. An image for some reason works a lot better than just saying like, my feelings were hurt, like I was sad that day. Like that doesn't really connect. But if I have like a picture, it's like, oh yes, I feel that. So yeah, thank you.
I feel that art, music, and writing is sort of our way of expressing or communicating what we're feeling, as well as finding clarity of what we're feeling. And so it comes out in our art, and then other people, it resonates with other people, and then they become creative themselves as well. Because I really believe that we are all creative, and we all express things in different ways. You express things through music. I believe I express things through writing. And I think everybody, other people would have an artistic flair, with painting, sculpture, and all that. And I think that's how we understand the world, and we also express to others so that others can see us, our internal us, without we expose ourselves. But that's very hard to do when you're standing up and saying, going through therapy and saying that it's better to say it through an art form. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you.
Really, I couldn't agree with her more. Yeah, thank you. Wow.
So let's play a song for everybody, just because Adriana, you did your homework. You're like, I'm gonna come to this Better Normal, and I'm gonna listen to the music ahead of time, but which is just so amazing. And but maybe not everyone got the chance. So, or maybe, some people, like I see Julia here, she used to be at all those Art After Darks back, 8 years ago. And, but it's probably been a while for people. So let me just play the first track off of your album that came out almost a year ago, Kind Reminder. So this is a new thing for me also, just be patient. I'm gonna share, this is a thing you can do on Zoom. You can share your audio. So let me do that. Okay, great. So Nick, could you tell us a little bit about that song? You were telling me about it the other day, and I really love the meaning behind it.
Yeah. That song's called Dusty Seats. And basically it's saying when someone matters in our lives or has mattered, it could be a childhood friend, it could be a romantic relationship or a parent or family member. Anytime that we really love someone, no matter where that relationship stands today, that person always has a place at our table, I believe. And so I feel like I've spent a lot of energy in my life trying to either like move on or forget people or forget experiences. And what I realized when I wrote that song is that my heart has this massive table. And rather than trying to put other new people into the same old seat, I can actually just create a new seat for a new person and honor all the seats that have been at my table in my life. And so it's just kind of acknowledging that, like, yes, this person did matter to me, and I'm not gonna forget them or erase them from my life, no matter what happened, whether they're gone in our lives or what.
I just love that. And you're getting a lot of really kind comments. So Sylvia, do you want to share your comment? Cissy, do you want to unmute Sylvia?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hello. So yesterday I have a sister that is dealing with some mental health issues, and music has always been a place for me to go and process my emotions. And on purpose, I love to listen to positive music. And she's been dealing a lot, with suicidal thoughts. And I talk to her and write to her, but I thought, how cool it would be to to put this into a song that she can listen to whenever she has these moments, and I hadn't never heard of anything like this. And then this morning I was checking my emails and I saw the seminar, and I'm like, how timely, this is exactly what I want to do. And so, like, you've inspired me to pursue the idea, that, even if it's coming from the heart for one person, that your desire to help that one person can impact many others. So thank you so much
100%.
for sharing.
Thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like part of my work is to be kind of a missionary, to give people permission to express themselves and make peace with others, or support the healing of people that matter to them. And however it is, whether you write them a song or a poem, or I love that, because just like Adriana was saying, like we're all creative. I strongly believe that it's just giving ourselves permission to let that come through. And so
by coincidence, I'm wearing my shirt that says "Sing" all over. I don't sing publicly. I'd love to sing. I love to write. It's just something new I'm pursuing now. But it's just odd in a cool way how things sometimes line up.
yeah, and if you were to write a song directly to your sister, and it could be incredibly personal between the two of you, you'd be surprised that someone in New Zealand or someone in South Africa, that message would fully resonate with them as if you had written it especially for them. And that's the crazy thing about music, is the more personal that I get, the more I make it about my actual journey, the more universal it becomes. And that's wild, because it's actually connecting us globally, So I encourage you to do that with your sister. I think that'd be amazing. And then you'd be surprised that we'd be resonating with it too, because we're not so alone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that comment, Sylvia. And my heart goes out to you and your sister. And I personally give you permission to create art. And I think Nick and Cissy will agree. Here on this call, we are giving you permission. You are a singer.
Who am I? All I did was just start singing. I have no training. I have no background. I didn't study it in school. I just do it. I just practice and work through all the not being good until it sounds good to me. And that's enough, so anyone can do that.
Can I ask a question, Nick?
Yes, please.
So do you ever write about your family? And if so, how is that?
Yeah, 100%, because my family is incredibly important to me. Yeah. The first song I think I wrote about my family was called Childhood. I'm a middle boy, so we're three boys, and both of my older brothers had kids when they were 18, and that was really challenging for them, to have to wake up kind of overnight, like, oh man, it's time to be a man, and I wasn't ready for that. I can't imagine. And so I written that song kind of to support, as like trying to make sense of that experience with them, because I don't feel so separate or different from them, and it could happen to anybody. And also I realized that as I was writing a song to them, I was also writing it directly to myself as well. So the things that I was telling them, I was telling myself. So it's interesting how connected we are.
Yeah.
But how do your, for me, Nick, having like healing conversations, like say with my parents, because my ACEs score is not 0, right? So I experienced childhood trauma. And over the past few years, I have been working on my healing journey. and it's brought up, it's been some really powerful conversations with my parents. How does that go with your music and things you may write about that are a little more sensitive?
Yeah, I wrote a song on the new album called "Paying for It," and it's definitely the most personal song that I've put out. I mean, it's, if I had an autobiography in a song, it would be that, you know. But it also feels like the most important song I've written for myself and for my family. I was a little worried at first because it acknowledges, alcohol abuse, but it was never like victimizing myself or others or like putting blame on people. The song is really saying like, while I may have grown up with some struggles in childhood, I see that it's not as short of a thing as like, oh, my dad did this to me, but it was really like, it's a really long cycle of suffering that he was in the exact same position, And so when we see it that way, then it's not like there's no victim and there's no, what would be the opposite of a victim? There's no perpetrator. Sure. Yeah. Like I didn't see my father that way at all, especially with that song. So it was acknowledging that like, yes, all the things that happened in my life, I'm paying for those things now, but they've actually created this emotional wealth that I don't think I would have been able to experience if I had had a perfect life growing up. So it's really a song of gratitude. So it was difficult because I'm acknowledging struggle, saying that like, yeah, things weren't easy. But the cool thing about my family is especially my dad in his journey, he does not BS at all. He's very open about like, yep, that's what happened. Like things were rough. And, so it helps. I've seen my dad at a show in San Francisco in the crowd singing along with his arms up in that song. Like he knows all the words and he loves it. So I was really scared at first, but he came around to it for sure. Cause he sees that it's a healing song. It's not about like putting blame or judging him. Yeah.
Jennifer just left a comment that Cissy, can you unmute her? Because I really kind of want to hear that, like from a parent perspective. It seems like almost like this song, which we will play, could help parents too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's older than all of us. Like it's older than him. And that's the thing we forget is we see it so short. It's like, my dad did this to me. It's like, well, yeah, but it's so old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just feeling like, I think as parents, I'm not on video because I'm in the middle of a bathroom remodel, but as parents, we do everything that we can to ensure that our kids have this great lives. And we all know that at some point there's going to be something that they remember that was like traumatizing or, despite our best efforts. So to know that you come out on the other side with that emotional wealth, I think is really promising as a parent, because it's like we all have these experiences in life that we do the best that we can with what we have. And there are going to be times that we mess up or, our kids will go through things, and it makes me feel better. Thank you.
Hi, Jen.
Hi, neighbor.
Thank you. Jen's my next door neighbor, and she's rad.
That's awesome.
Allison, there was a comment, I think, from Michael McKnight about if I can take Michael off. I'm just pulling up your name. Oh, maybe they dropped off. All right, skip that. Sorry.
Okay.
Somebody was just saying music is containment and expressive therapy. It's called containment. So that was a cool comment earlier. But.
Do you want can you explain that? Containment?
That's what I was going to ask. It was it's Michael McCarthy had said earlier. Okay, in expressive arts therapy, we call the medium, music, art, dance of the creative expression, a container.
Okay, like a safe space.
Yeah, just a place to hold. I know in writing we talk about it as a container too. So just like a place to hold some of those harder feelings, and a safe place to kind of welcome all the feelings, as you were talking about in the song, welcoming everyone at the table, but just like a place to where it's okay to everything's welcome.
Yes, that's huge. That's very, that's very big in the songs that I write. There's a new song that we're releasing that explicitly says every bit of you is welcome, and that's, obviously directed at ourselves and directed at others. If we can accept ourselves that radically, then we can begin to accept others like that,
That is so true. And that has been my healing journey experience too. In fact, have you all maybe raise your hand if you've noticed that, like the kinder you are to yourself, like the kinder even like the thoughts that I think about other people. Does anyone resonate with that?
Yep.
Yeah. And so just staying on this song, which to me, and to you, is the one that's most overtly about trauma, right? Because you're talking directly.
Oh, paying for it?
About substance misuse. Yeah, paying for it. Yeah, coming back. And the lyric that really grabbed me, that when I was listening to this song back in March for the first time, that made me just like immediately text you and go, this song is amazing, is when we'll play the song. You said, all I ever wanted was to be grateful, strong, and perfect. All I ever wanted was for no one to have to worry about me.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what those lyrics mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up in dysfunction, it's one common response to dysfunction, and witnessing that is I wanted to be not a problem for anybody. I wanted, if I had my life together, if I was perfect, if I didn't have needs, if I didn't have any worries, if I was solid, then my parents or the people around me would they would be better off, right? They could focus on themselves and their struggles. So I didn't want to cause ripples, So
does anyone relate to that?
Right.
Yeah, that was my experience in childhood. That lyric just so grabbed me, and I really struggle with perfectionism. It's still a lifelong battle. Like I produced, some of you attended the Cracked Up events that I was producing, and I made kind of a pretty big recording error on the last one, and making that mistake like devastated me. And even knowing that was a childhood wound around perfectionism, and just it wasn't really safe for me as a child to make mistakes or fail or mess up or even just like spill something. Like if I spilled something, like I was going to get kind of verbally assaulted in my household. And I know that's very common. That's just like a very normal childhood experience. Like parents are stressed, parents are especially in the United States. I always want to highlight because the socioeconomic disparities are so profound and pronounced, that for so many families there's so many stressors, and so having that high stress just made it so that I was like walking on eggshells, feeling like I always had, if I could just do it perfectly enough, my parents would be okay, and I just wanted them to be okay.
Right, exactly. It's out of love that we did it, and it served me at the time, because I would tell myself stories like, oh, it could be worse. Like I know my dad had it way worse than me. I would tell myself these sorts of stories that they helped me at the time, but then I later in therapy had to realize that, oh, I actually have to give myself permission to feel the things that I never allowed myself to as a kid, because I wanted to be strong. Because if I was strong, if I didn't cry, if I was then I wouldn't be causing trouble for anyone, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it could be worse, but I think depending on how you grow up, if you have a lot of aces, we rarely are like, it could have been better.
Yeah, never think that. I know.
Exactly. It'd be better too. But yeah.
Cissy, will you unmute Carrie? She knows what's up about the fear of being a burden. Carrie's one of our coworkers at ACEs Connection.
Oh, cool.
And she wrote a book that was published about her experience growing up in a family with alcohol abuse. That is such a beautiful book. Carrie, we got to have you on a Better Normal as a guest. Talk about your book.
Fun. That'd be a lot of fun. And I really love the song, just the little bit that I've heard of it. But you've touched on so many things, Nick. The multi-generational aspect of this. That, you know, how are we supposed to speak Chinese if we grew up speaking English? How are we supposed to know how to parent our own children well if we grew up being parented by people who were traumatized themselves? I mean, and I have no idea of how traumatized my grandfather might have been, or his father might have been, but, you know.
Who was talking about that at the time? No one was talking about that. You know?
No, because they were in survival. I mean, my dad grew up during the Great Depression, for crying out loud. My mother chopped cotton in Alabama, which I can't imagine what kind of fresh hell that must have been. You know, and of course, then you look at the multi-generational aspects of trauma for people of color, African American, Native American, Mexican American people, and the traumas that they have been through, and how we carry that shame and that trauma in our bodies. So music through breath, and I've been in choirs for years, it is so healing. It is so healing to just get that breath in and up and out, and in and up and out. And I would so love to see an ACEs in the arts community be born, because drama, theater, music, the visual arts, there's such a place for it in all of this. And I know that Dr. Folletti wants to see that happen. I mean, I don't know that but I know he loves ACEs in the arts and would love to see.
Yeah, and Bessel van der Kolk as well. The couple times that I've talked to him, he wrote a significant book on trauma, and then Folletti is the one who published the original ACEs study. But Bessel van der Kolk, every time I've talked to him, he just focused. We have to teach parents how to play with their kids. Play. As humans, the more we can play, the better we'll feel.
But it's so hard if you haven't been safe to feel like play, I feel like, is one of the last things to come in the healing journey. So it's so hard if as parents, speaking as a parent, joy seemed luxurious. Like, it didn't even seem like, I had a friend who used to say, I'm a militant voice for joy. And I thought, what does that even mean? Like, I just didn't even really understand it. But now I feel like, yes, play and joy is so healing. But I think that kind of comes at the end of the healing, can come at the end of the healing cycle. So yeah, parents have to heal first.
Oh, let's play this song, Paying for It. I probably will play like a minute and a half of it, I think. Does everyone, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because this, maybe everyone can be encouraged to hear it through the end on their own, because the end is, to me, is really the crux of the songs. The whole, it's like where to arrive at, but
I love the end
stage. So yeah, I think just play the first minute and a half. That would be fine.
Okay, and then I know everyone's gonna jump off of here and go listen to the whole song. Yeah. And the end is so beautiful. I love it. It's my favorite.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the whole reason why that whole beginning exists, is because the end is what I really needed to hear at the time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was just a little kid. There was a hornet's nest in my fridge. The man would come home, 1 hornet, 2 hornet, blacked out, the man was gone. But I know when he was just a boy, every every good road was destroyed. Empty table, Thanksgiving. Daggone mom gone, no hero city, jungle living. Didn't matter what I did. An engineer can always build a bridge, but the man was drowning. Bottle, can. A bottle can make him disappear while he thinks he's home. Now I'm paying for it. I'm so thankful for it. All I ever wanted to be was grateful, strong, and perfect. All I ever wanted for is no one to have to worry about me. Now I'm paying for it, but I'm so thankful for it all. I'm so grateful now to never have to be perfect. And the dandelion in front of me awaiting it. Serenity. Oh.
That is so beautiful. And people are leaving comments in the chat.
Wow.
Anything else that you want to add about that song, Nick?
About that song? Yeah, I guess one of the things that I arrived at in that song is that understanding that my parents were actually, they're my angels, and they weren't. So I went, from this experience of like, oh, I had this, adverse childhood experience, but I truly 100% believe that they did the best they could. And when I felt that in my body, I just felt like, wow, my parents are my angels. They, like, the person I am today is because of them. For all the things that I love about myself is because of them. So I just felt this sense of gratitude. And then where the end of the song gets to is I was encouraging myself to surrender to the present moment. And I was kind of getting away from this dwelling in the past. And I was, because in that chorus it says, in the dandelion in front of me awaiting is serenity. And that dandelion imagery I got from reading and being in love with Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'll spell this so everyone can. He's just kind of like my hero.
I love his work.
He's been such a big inspiration for me. And so like I'll read some of his stuff and it'll just like sink into me. And then when I'll be writing a song, I'll be like, oh, I know where that image came from. That's Thich Nhat Hanh for sure. So that whole, just his encouragement to surrender to the present moment and to actually, like, the peace and joy that's already present, that's already here. It's not, I feel like I was spending so much energy in my life fighting for peace, fighting for joy, trying to be so strong, as opposed to being like soft and passive and letting the joy and peace permeate me that's already here and accessible. So that felt like a huge breakthrough in my life. And so I have to come back to that song and feel that often,
Well, we have a request of you just have to play the end of the song. So so let's see. Is it like the last minute, or where should I cue it? How long is the? I'll just play around. I'll see if I can find it.
It's right after it says I have to get the hell out the way.
Okay, let me see.
Try a minute should be enough. Let's do it.
Now, all around me is a whole other sea. The subtleties of the sun and the breeze. Gotta get the hell out the way and surrender to joy, surrender to peace. It's already here, let it do its thing. Surrender to joy, surrender to peace. It's already here, let it do its thing. Now I got a part in my soul that it wants to reflect. Moon's glow, if I can let it shine. If I can quit making waves, let her sing her song. Sing her song. Now I got a part
that last part says, I've got a pond in my soul and it wants to reflect the moon's glow. If I could let it shine, if I could quit making waves and let her sing her song.
I love that. It's so beautiful. And it's very healing. Like it feels like you're giving me permission to welcome more joy into my life. And in a way that only music could do. And does anyone else feel that? Or does anyone else want to share what they were feeling listening to parts of this song?
I'm really interested to hear what people feel.
Carrie, maybe do you want to start us off?
Sure. I felt, I love that there was just a chorus of people, because I think that when we all get that we are parents, we are children, we are sisters, we are brothers, we are connected, and to have that chorus coming in with you, that you weren't alone in that we're not alone in that we are a choir, howling at the moon together sometimes, and letting that up and out can be a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I love that I was looking at Umi Love, and now she wants to share something, because I was looking at her saying, I wonder what's in her head. She's so good. I bet she wants something good to say. So that worked out so well. Synchronicity.
Yes. I love that you said that, because I was like, yeah, I do have something to say. Hi,
Umi.
Hi. Nick, I really love your music.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate what you're saying about in the beginning with expanding your table, or at least recognizing there's no limit to your table. And that's another point, but this idea of victimhood, I experienced in my life, especially like through talk therapy and like growing up not having, the tools to like understand my emotions and express what I feel in relation to what I need and what I want. And my therapist, I remember like her really trying to make me believe that my father was this enemy, and that he like never loved me and he could never love me. And it was really important, and it's been important for me to see my father as see him in his highest good when possible, and kind of as a child, because in a way he is still like acting as like a 6-year-old who did not get his own needs met and who was also abused, and finding love for him and compassion has been so important, because there was so much anger and just blaming before that I didn't get the opportunity to feel empowered and to see not my experiences as something I need to ignore or pray away, but as something that is a gift. And there's so much emotional depth when we understand that our experience, like, we can be grateful. I can be grateful for what happened to me, and I can be upset about it at the same time. Yeah, I really appreciate your lyrics are very clear, and I love that, and very personal. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I felt chills in my body the whole time you were talking, Umi. So I think that what you said resonated. Yeah. Thank you.
Is it Umi?
Yumi.
Okay, Yumi. Yeah, that's something that
Umi.
that I have been working on a lot. And internal family systems. Does anyone else utilize that modality of healing? It's so good, because I just learned about it a couple years ago. It's where you acknowledge that we can have all of these different parts inside of us, and they're all welcome to coexist, even if they contradict each other. So we can say, there's a part of me that's really angry at my dad. And then we can say, there's a part of me that's really grateful for my dad. Or there's a part of me that's really seeing his pain, but there's a part of me that's really hurting. and he was the one that caused me to hurt. And it's been so healing for me. Yeah, internal family systems. It's the exact healing that I needed to really move my mental health forward in a big way, because it acknowledged that it's not either or. We can hold space, which is why I loved, Nick, you started us off by talking about, you just kind of expanded your table. Like we can expand our capacity to feel all these different things. And that's what makes life really beautiful, is the opportunity to feel so many things. So thank you so much for your comment.
Yeah. And yeah, like encouraging us all to stop operating from a place of scarcity, especially emotionally, right? That we have this incredible potential within us.
And it makes sense too. Like it makes sense. I feel like I've been able to find more peace in being a human, because recently I've been feeling this like resistance of like, why am I here? Like, why does it have to be so hard sometimes? And I think I came here to Earth because I wanted to experience this pain and this confusion, which really brings down into my body the fact that I'm not meant to be perfect. Like everything that happened to me was exactly as it was meant to happen. Yeah.
Thank you. I also wanted to say, Allison, that I'm gonna unmute Des if you're comfortable sharing your comment, Des. Which is Nick's mom just commented.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, Mom. So glad you made it. Let's see. She's first time Zoom user, so.
Okay.
I've caught the whole thing from the end of the introduction to everything you've said and all the sharing and the comments, and this, it's just so powerful. The connection and, introspection and, just this whole healing on a community and global level. It's really powerful. And what I said in my comment is just, I'm choked up in a very good and positive way that you're getting acknowledgement for, as an artist and as a messenger. But, gosh, an artist, I think, likes nothing more.
Oh, no. No. No.
Maybe we can get your mom's full comment, and I'll include it in the blog that I send out for this event afterwards, that everyone will get.
She's back. We all want it. We all want to know.
Oh, she's back. She's back.
Okay. So that's just bad connection. Yeah, just being able to talk about what inspired you and, what was behind this and what was the symbolism? I absolutely love that personally. So I just don't think
you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But thank you so much, Des. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for bringing Nick into this world so that he could share with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for being his mother.
I also want to acknowledge that in that song that we were just listening to, Paying For It, is where I say that, like, my mom is the whole entire reason why I sing today. She has a beautiful singing voice, and she writes these gorgeous songs, some of which that we've turned into Próxima Parada songs. Tossin' My Troubles is one, and then there's a song called Feel You Slipping Away that's on our newest album that my mom wrote. She wrote when I was a kid about my parents being on their, kind of feeling like my parents were on their way out and feeling that relationship slipping away. And it was kind of this one last call to action song. And so the fact that my mom and I sang that song together on the album, and it was incredibly healing. We had never, growing up, I didn't sing. She was the singer, and I've always loved hearing her sing. So when I got into college, I started once I was away from home. I don't know what it took, but for some reason I finally felt more comfortable exploring that. And so the fact that today, all these years later, we could sing a song that was so important to my mom and to her relationship with my dad and to me. It's a trip. I can't believe that exists, you know.
I want to take the question from Michelle Musgrove. Will you unmute her, Cissy? And then we'll do that question. We'll do that answer. So we may run just a couple minutes over because then we'll just do some concluding remarks after that, and I'll let you know, or we'll let you know all the different ways that you can support Próxima Parada. So Michelle.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say thank you for offering these webinars. I've really enjoyed them during this time of COVID, and I feel like I'm just in this little basement in Tennessee, and the world is going crazy around me, but I have these people that I can interact with, and I love. My daughter actually is a classical guitarist, and she's in Virginia right now. But when she plays her guitar, there's just this instant calming and peace. And so, Nick, I was going to ask you, when did you realize that you were cultivating peace through music? And like, what was like was there an aha moment, I guess?
Man,
I love that question.
Yeah, great question. I'm not sure if I've ever experienced an aha moment. It feels like everything has been slow for me. I feel like I'm late to everything, and I'm happy for that. I played sports growing up. I thought I was the sporty type, and I was Sporty Spice as a kid. Because of the blessing of a dislocated shoulder, I started to play the piano because I could keep my arms to my side. And so slowly but surely, I just became obsessed, and I felt like I had to catch up. Like, I'm 18 years old, and I don't know how to play music, and I love this. But then I didn't start writing songs for a couple more years. And then I didn't start writing songs that felt healing for a couple more years after that. So I guess, gosh, maybe it's been like the last 7 years or something that it's felt like really beneficial in my life. You know, before it was just like this strange interest. Yeah, I didn't quite understand.
It's so purposeful. I mean, it's because for someone like me, I have a hard time with words. Like, I just can't put words to my feelings sometimes. So when you have a song that actually kind of does that for you, I would imagine that for people, and for, you know, people like myself, it's just like, yeah, that's what I'm feeling. You know, becoming more self-aware, and then being able to regulate because you also have somebody else that's feeling that way. Right. And so anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and the songs do that to me too. I'm like, oh, that's how I was feeling. So it's funny how it teaches me too. I'm right there with you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. This hour flew by. There were like more songs I wanted to talk about, but that ended up being perfect. I encourage you all, and I know you all will, to listen to the music of Próxima Parada. It's available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Music. There are links in the original blog post. So I'm throwing that blog back in the chat. What you can do too is if you click on the 3 dots in the chat, you can select to save the chat, so you can view comments and stuff later if you want to. And yeah, that's right. Cissy, will you tell everyone how to join ACES Connection, and I'll find the link to sign up for Tuesday's event, and then we'll circle back around, Nick.
Yeah, there's a join button right on ACES Connection, and we just require membership so that everybody posts and shares in the community as ourselves. There's no anonymous cyberbullying or trolling. So our only requirement is that, you know, you post and share as yourself. So we welcome everyone to join. We support trauma, you know, becoming trauma informed, whether that's part of your individual journey, whether it's for your family, whether it's systems and community, or even just transforming systems. we also have 2 more Better Normals coming up next week. We have 2, sometimes 3 a week, and I'll put that in the chat as well.
I put the link for Tuesdays. So that one, yeah, is the women from Origins. They're amazing. Building a trauma-informed culture. And then we have education upended every single Thursday, which Laura does an amazing job talking about how to reform education so that it's trauma-informed. So we hope to see you next week for those. So I just wanted to talk about ways to support Próxima Parada. You can go to their website. That is on the link that I put. Oh, yeah. You can buy the actual record. I have their actual record. It's amazing. You can buy T-shirts. You can also on Spotify, there's a donate button. You can donate. Right now is a precarious time for musicians, and let us please all support music as beautiful as theirs. Following on Spotify, yes, great idea, Adriana. Following on social media, sharing with people that will enjoy it. Let's make sure we spread the word.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference to share with people. That's how we're able to make a living. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Nick, thank you so much for being here. And I mean, you already are sharing so vulnerably with your songs, but thank you so much for coming on here and sharing the meaning behind them so that we, get this kind of special inside look. Thanks for sharing that with the ACEs Connection community.
Really a true pleasure. This is the exact types of conversations I want to be having in my life. So thank you guys. This is a real pleasure.
Thank you, Cissy, for facilitating this. That took the stress off so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was wonderful. I'm so glad I got to be here. This was great.
Yeah. I hope to do many more art and music and healing centered events with ACEs Connection. So I hope you all will join ACEs Connection and follow Próxima Parada, share their music. And I hope everyone has a really great weekend.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.